Recently, Facepunch released a brief news update for Garry's Mod on Steam. It was titled, Nintendo Stuff on Steam Workshop, and reads as follows. Some of you may have noticed that certain Nintendo-related workshop items have recently been taken down. This is not a mistake, the takedowns came from Nintendo. Honestly, this is fair enough. This is Nintendo's content, and what they allow and don't allow is up to them. They don't want you playing with that stuff in Garry's Mod? That's their decision. We have to respect that and take down as much as we can. This is an ongoing process, as we have 20 years of uploads to go through. If you want to help us by deleting your Nintendo-related uploads and never uploading them again, that would help us a lot. This came as a huge blow to the community. Nintendo content on Garry's Mod has been around almost as long as the game itself. They make some of the most popular games in the world and own some of the most recognizable characters. So of course, people want to use that in their creations, or just when they mess around in Sandbox. However, it did seem like an odd choice. There's no way Nintendo and their legal team just hadn't been aware of Garry's Mod, right? Why choose now of all times to go after these add-ons? And to confuse the situation even more, people have questioned the legitimacy of these takedown requests entirely. So what's really going on? As of now, we aren't certain, but we can look at all the factors and try to take a good guess. So let's start with evidence that points toward this being Nintendo's doing. First off, Nintendo is known to do this sort of thing. Recently, they took down Yuzu, the biggest emulator for the Switch. They've taken down numerous ROM hacks and fan games in the past, particularly ones that remake existing games. And sometimes, they'll go out of their way to take down things that don't cause a lot of obvious harm to their brand or income, like random videos of people playing modded Breath of the Wild. They actually used to be far worse, regularly and consistently going after YouTubers before switching to some BS revenue sharing system, and eventually dropping that and mostly acting like any regular company that just enjoys all the free advertising without turning it into a problem. But they could go back anytime, and it's never a certainty that any Nintendo-related work you put online will remain up indefinitely, no matter what. Second, Garry Newman seems pretty certain that this is in fact Nintendo issuing takedowns. As the guy who made the game and owns the company, he should probably know exactly what's going on with it and be very involved in the process of removing add-ons and all of that. He said Facepunch was doing its own investigation into the matter, and followed up by saying that he has been assured that the takedowns are coming from Nintendo directly. Normally that would be the end of the conversation, but there are a few issues with this story, so let's take a closer look. One problem is that, well, this would actually be kind of unprecedented for Nintendo. There are a lot of add-ons using their IP on the Gmod workshop, and there have been for decades. Why start now? I can only think of a few times they've gone after long-running and popular uses of their content before. Yuzu posed a direct financial risk, and its developers were doing a few odd things that could arguably be encouraging people to pay to pirate the new Zelda game using early builds of their emulator that were locked behind their Patreon. They only targeted another Metroid 2 remake shortly before announcing their own remake of the game. While they do sometimes attack people for no discernible reason, like when they decided to just start taking down uploads of the soundtracks from their games without providing any other option, it's actually fairly rare for them to do so nowadays. Second, Garry's language in his tweets on the situation has been very vague. He'll say, "I've been assured," not "Nintendo's lawyers reached out and told me this." Then he replied to someone saying he was getting mixed messages about the situation, before sending out another tweet directly asking people in the community why they think these could be false takedowns. And honestly, it paints a picture of him just not understanding the situation at all. And what is this about false takedowns anyway? Well, many have been talking about a rather prolific copyright troll who poses as Nintendo specifically to scare and annoy people who make Nintendo fan content. He's been going at it for years, apparently with the goal of just stirring shit and getting attention. Someone on Twitter apparently reached out to a Nintendo representative and asked if this was legitimate, and they were told it wasn't. People are citing other false copyright claim incidents that may or may not involve him, but honestly, it's such a shit show and none of this is easy to trace or track down, so any number of links in this chain could be completely fabricated. Supposedly, the domain and email attached to these takedown notices isn't one known to be used by Nintendo's actual legal team, but it could always just be a new email or something like that too. We really don't have enough information out in the open to be certain. Rather than freaking out, I'd urge anyone watching to just calm the fuck down. Just chill out for a minute. As sad as it would be, losing all the Marios on Gmod wouldn't quite be the end of the world, and it seems like nobody actually knows what's going on here. This could, or at least should, be sorted out with a simple email from Facepunch to someone at Nintendo's legal team, but I've also seen rather high-profile individuals reach out to them before and receive absolutely nothing. So maybe talking to the people who are actively pushing your shit in just isn't an option with them at all. If this isn't real, you'd think Nintendo would try to get ahead of a PR disaster, but they've also been known to just sit through those in the past and come out relatively unscathed. As a regular Gmod player, I'd recommend backing up any and all add-ons you enjoy that use Nintendo content, as well as any that a random Facepunch employee who doesn't know much about this stuff might mistakenly believe uses Nintendo content. I've linked a tutorial by the Drenda department that has multiple methods available and links to all the tools that could be useful. Click the the little card up in the top right there, or just check the description. And to Garry Newman, if you're watching this, in the future, maybe double check these things before deleting large chunks of the free content people create for the game that made you a millionaire. Just like, try an email or something. You must have a few lawyers who could help you type one up in an afternoon, right? And to be balanced, if Shigeru Miyamoto happens to be watching, be less cringe. Let the content flow. Unless a suspiciously Gmod-shaped game is coming up for Switch 2, there's literally no reason to go after it. Also, get your filthy fucking paws off of Paper Mario storylines, hire everyone from Alpha Dream to make a new Mario and Luigi game, and fast-track Pikmin 5 for me. Thank you in advance. And thank all of you for watching. Hopefully all of this gets resolved soon, or at least confirmed either way, and as long as no huge twists develop in the story, I'll just add a pinned comment or something instead of making a new video on it. Make sure to like the video, let me know in the comments what you think about the situation, follow me on Letterboxd, and I'll see you guys for the next video very soon.